Aloha mai, aloha gang, it's Jason, and I'm coming to you today from my apartment in New York City. So, I've been working on these crazy writing assignments, which I first talked about in the top secret self-imposed, self-directed writing retreat video. And I've been working on using prompts that would get me to tell some of the stories from my Hawaiian studies and Hawaiian Namea Hawaii, like all the different Hawaiian things. So I came up with one based on the word mountain apple, and I thought I would share it with you today as my weekly video. So this is what I wrote. It was 8 minutes, and the goal is to just jump in, set the timer, and write using as many senses as you can, and you don't edit. So this is unedited, raw stuff. So here it goes. Mountain Apple. My first exposure to Mountain Apple is via Mountain Apple Records. They are the label that recorded and distributed the music of Israel Ka'anoi Kamakawiwa Ole, the man whose voice changed my life, who reminded me that music is a total body experience. He reached down into my bitter 27-year-old self and softened me, not with blows like that from a meat mallet, but with tenderness and joyfulness, melting the ice that had formed around my heart, a necessity in order to survive the constant audition process you go through as an actor in New York. Eventually, you have to toughen in order to survive. But he reached inside me and turned the heat on, man, and I began to thaw. Mountain Apple. Seeing that on so many of the Hawaiian records and CDs that I began collecting, spending every last one of my New York dimes on music from a world on the other side of the globe, a people and a culture that I knew nothing about, nothing other than what I learned from their music, the inherent joy and the rhythm. Primal, it touched a side that I hadn't encountered in my studies at the university. Mountain apple. In Hālawa Valley, mountain apples can be plentiful. My first taste comes from a huge mason jar, Mom Solatorio unscrewing the metal lid, my mouth salivating as I listen to the scratching sounds of the lid as it scratches the glass. Inside are brown wedges, strange, unfamiliar, but I want them. I know that much. Okay, so that was my 8 minutes, and here's the story. When I was there in July of this year, Mom Solatorio shows up and she's got this big mason jar and she says, "Here, I want you to try something." And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, I have no idea what it is that she's got in there. And it looks a little familiar. It looks like it might be apples. It looks like it might be, I don't know, pears. And it's in this kind of brown, not really a sauce, but kind of like a glaze. And she opened the lid, and one of the things that I don't do in Hawaii is smell the food before I eat it. Apparently, that's a cultural no-no. Who knew? Here in the States, or here on the mainland, that's certainly how I was brought up. You know, you eat with your nose, and you eat with your eyes, and you eat with your taste buds. But in Hawaii, I've been corrected enough times to know not to bring it to my nose to smell it. So she handed me a fork, and on the fork was one of these wedges that was covered in this brown glaze, and I put it in my mouth, and I closed my eyes because I wanted to really experience it, and it was sweet. I recognized the taste of brown sugar. I think there was probably some cinnamon on it, but the the whitish part, the wedge itself was it was crunchy. It wasn't soft like a cooked apple, and I thought it tasted a little bit floral, kind of like an Asian pear, and I knew that I wanted more. So after I finished chewing that one up, I asked Mom if I could have another one, and she said sure. And I said, "What are these?" And she said, "Well, I'll leave that up to you. What do you think they are?" So my guess was originally an apple, but it didn't have the apple taste that I grew up with. I mean, I'm an East Coast guy, so we know our apples pretty well, especially around this time of year. This is where everybody goes apple picking. So so I figured it had to be some kind of pear, and I guessed Asian pear. And she said, "No, what's your next guess?" And I said, "Well, originally it was an apple." And she said, "Well, it is. It's a mountain apple." And what she did is she had taken them and I don't know if she cooked them or if she just poured this wonderful glaze over them. Might have had some butter in it, and sealed them in jars. And they kept kind of like preserves, although I think we had to eat these pretty quickly. But she had two big jars of them. I'll tell you this much. After a week, there wasn't even a jar left. And I think after the second week, it was all gone. We ate it all. It became like if you walk by the ice box, you open up the door and you stick a fork in and you get a wedge. So anyway, that's my exposure to mountain apple. These are the kind of things that I'm writing to put together this collection of stories, and I use this technique to kind of go deep and go quickly right into the heart of it. So by just jumping in and setting the timer, it's getting to bring all of these stories to life. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's rough. That's exactly what it is. It's warts and all, but I thought it would be a good way to share with you what it is that I'm working on and share a story with you about Hālawa and about my wonderful solatorio ohana that are tucked so nicely down in the valley. All right, that's it. Happy Aloha Thursday, gang. I hope you're having a great week, and I'll talk with you soon. Ahui ho!